Okay, so let's think about this for a second. When you picture the most dangerous part of your daily drive, what comes to mind? Is it merging onto the highway at full speed? Maybe a super busy downtown street? Well, what if I told you the real danger is in a moment you probably don't even think twice about? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the hidden dangers of side road intersections.
So here's our game plan. We'll start with the surprise threat, the thing that catches so many of us completely off guard. Then, we're going to dissect the anatomy of the risk to see what's really going on. After that, we'll build up your defensive toolkit, share one life-saving pro tip that you can use immediately, and wrap it all up with the active driver mindset that's going to change how you see the road forever.
All right, Section 1, the surprise threat. Let's start by challenging a really common idea about where the real danger is hiding on our drives.
Seriously, think about it. When you imagine a dangerous driving situation, what pops into your head? For most of us, it's probably merging onto a packed freeway, right? Or maybe trying to navigate some chaotic five-way intersection in the middle of a city.
Well, the answer, and this might really surprise you, is that the biggest risk often isn't in those high-drama moments. It's actually hidden in the most routine, almost mindless thing we do, pulling out from a quiet side street onto a main road. This is where we let our guard down, and that's exactly where the danger is most underestimated.
So let's get into the why. Section 2, Anatomy of the Risk. To really get a handle on these intersections, we've got to understand the 4 key dangers that make them so tricky. You can almost think of them as the 4 horsemen of intersection risk.
First up, we have the hasty driver. And, let's be honest with ourselves. We have all been this person at some point. You're running late, you're stressed, and suddenly that tiny little gap in traffic starts to look like a perfectly safe opening. So you punch it, taking a huge gamble that's fueled by nothing more than impatience. It's a classic mental trap where stress just completely overrides our better judgment.
And that leads us to this huge mental error, which is just perfectly captured by this quote right here. It's a total failure of anticipation. You see that other car, so your brain takes a dangerous shortcut and just assumes that they see you too. But relying on that assumption, that is a seriously dangerous gamble. You're not just driving your car, you have to be anticipating the moves and the mistakes of everyone else around you.
Our next horseman is the obscured threat. This is the classic blind spot, but it's one created by the world around you. You know what I'm talking about. A big parked delivery truck, a thick row of hedges, or even the sharp corner of a building. They all act like a curtain, completely hiding a fast-approaching car until the absolute last second. And by the time you finally see them, it's just too late.
And our final horseman is the follower. Oh man, this one is just pure herd mentality on wheels. The car in front of you goes, so you just instinctively follow right behind them, assuming that if it was clear for them, it must be clear for you too. But that safe gap they used, it closed a second ago. You've basically outsourced your own safety check to a total stranger, and that is a recipe for disaster.
Now, this slide reveals something really fascinating about speed. We all get that going too fast is dangerous, right? It means less time to react, longer stopping distances, the whole deal. But what's way less obvious, and something that really made me rethink my own driving, is that being abnormally slow is also a major hazard. It just disrupts the natural flow of traffic, making it incredibly hard for other drivers to predict what you're going to do.
Okay, Section 3, your defensive toolkit. So, we know the risks. Now what are we going to do about it? This section is all about arming you with practical, hands-on strategies to stay in control and handle these situations like a pro.
So here is your action plan for when you're the one on the main road. The big idea here is to switch from being passive to being active. You're constantly scanning those side roads. You're anticipating mistakes before they happen, and this is key. You're ready to yield even if you have the right of way. Look, your goal isn't to be right, it's to be safe.
But what if you're the one on the side road and your view is totally blocked? Here's a simple 4-step process. First, slow way down. Then, come to a complete stop. Third, you slowly edge forward. Some people call this creeping and peeping, to get a better line of sight. And finally, here's a fantastic pro tip: crack your window open. Your ears can often pick up on approaching traffic way before your eyes can see it.
All right, now I'm about to share what might be the single most practical, life-saving tip in this entire discussion. It's a tiny, tiny habit that takes 0 effort but could literally save your life.
Here it is, plain and simple. When you're stopped in an intersection waiting to make a left turn, you need to keep your wheels pointed straight ahead, not already turned to the left.
Straight. It sounds so small, but it is a massive deal. And here's why. The physics are simple but incredibly brutal. If someone rear-ends you while your wheels are already turned left, that impact is going to shove your car directly into the path of oncoming traffic. But if your wheels are straight, that exact same impact just pushes you forward, into the intersection you were already facing. It's such a tiny detail, but it has life or death consequences.
So let's bring it all home with our last section, the active driver mindset. This is really where we tie everything we've talked about together. Because at the end of the day, true safety isn't just about memorizing a bunch of rules. It's about adopting a whole new way of thinking every single time you get behind the wheel.
This is the big shift we need to make. From being a passive operator who just reacts to whatever's happening, to becoming an active driver who anticipates it. You're not just steering a machine anymore. You're constantly scanning, you're analyzing, you're looking for hidden threats, and you're always on the lookout for pedestrians and cyclists. You become a master of your driving environment.
It just goes to show you, even the simplest rules of the road are packed with some really fascinating physics and psychology. And it really makes you wonder, right? What other everyday rules have these incredible, life-saving stories just hiding in plain sight? Something to chew on during your next drive. Stay curious out there and stay safe.
Please like, subscribe, and get notified.